Hi guys, Icekraks here. So today is Tune Tuesday, and today we're actually going to do another tune of a car. And this, as you can probably see, is the Hyundai Gensis, driven by Icekraks. And basically, well, we're going to use this basically vinyl skin and set up as a drift car. You can see it's Icekraks' skin. He came second last year in Formula Drift, but isn't doing so well this year in Formula Drift. Well, only been 2 rounds so far. Road Atlanta and Long Beach so far. But we'll see how the results. Vonkin Jr., one of my favorite drivers, is first right now in Formula Drift. But we're actually going to set up this car for drifting purposes. Let's just have a look at the car, exploded out, things like that. Nice looking, yada yada yada. There's not really much I can do to the car visually, unfortunately. So we're going to do it all technically, and the motor and stuff like that. That's all all the important stuff we're going to do. So first of all, we're going to convert the aspiration to a twin turbo, mainly because naturally aspirated isn't exactly enough power. As you can see, 400 newton meters of torque, 259 kilowatts. It's about a little bit over 300 horsepower, 300 odd horsepower. So we're going to stick the twin turbo in, jack it up to 331 kilowatts and 511 newton meters of torque. And that's really all to do with converting. No body kits and aero and appearance, because none of them really suit the car. I don't really like Forza's default things. I'm going to put street compound tires on, and I'm not going to change the width of the tires. We're going to leave the width. And we're going to change the rims to probably the closest rims I could find to Icekraks' rims, even though he doesn't have... Well, he has, I think I'm pretty sure he has drift wheels rims. But yeah, the closest rims I could find are these Kong Bright Light rims that are the 6 spokes, sort of the 6-spoke sort of thing. So there's the closest thing I could really find to his rims, but can't exactly get his rims. So we're gonna stick those on as sort of a you get what I mean, basically. Racing clutch, because we can change the gears really quickly, because we do need to change a lot of gears while drifting. Racing gearbox, so I can adjust the drift, the gears, the gear ratios and stuff. I did play around with the gear ratios to make it work. Driveline, so I can get the power to rotate quickly and it's aligned. And a differential is the most important thing when it comes to drifting. You need the tires to be able to lock up and spin at the right rate. Brakes, racing brakes, so I can adjust the bias and stuff like that, things like that. Good old suspension. Suspension is another thing you really do need as it comes to converting and stuff like, and sort of adjusting settings. And roll bar, important as well. Roll bars. The suspension one, first of all, it allows you to adjust the dampening and stuff, but also allows you to adjust the alignment and stuff, which is really important when it comes to drifting. Roll cage, I'm going to stick it in anyway because it stiffens the car, and we're going to drop the weight off the car, strip everything out. 1.2 tons. A little bit close, well, pretty much a 1.3 ton car, so. And this is where the fun part begins, where we start sticking engine parts in. First of all, we're going to stick the flywheel in. Then we're going to stick a racing twin turbo, as that gives me just enough power to make the car... Well, it gives me enough power to drift the car. Pistons, forged pistons, racing pistons. You'd need forged pistons in the case of this application, the amount of power we're pushing. Racing engine block, forged block, I guess, and what's the name? Race valves, you need important valves. Cams, you need racing camshafts. Increase the revs. Even though this motor only maximum really revs up to 7,500 RPM. I prefer the high revving motors that go up to like 9,000, 10,000 RPM, but I have to deal with it. And this motor is already pretty good as it is. It's Hyundai Genesis motor. And we're gonna stick all the fuel system. We're gonna stick pretty much all the parts except the oil system and the intercooler on the car, basically. Once it lets me. And that's pretty much all the parts you need. So pretty much everything except the intercooler and the oil and cooling. So now we're actually going to tune the car. Tuning the car is actually the most important part. It will make a difference between driftable and not driftable. So yeah. Okay, so first of all, we're going to drop the tire pressure to 1.2. 1.2 is the most important. Tire pressure, tire pressure can play a lot of factors in drifting. Gear ratio, I did play around with this a little bit to get it to work, because the initial setup of the gear ratios wasn't exactly, it didn't exactly have enough power at that speed and at that gear, so I had to play around with it. So 3.4, 3.4, 2.14, good old 1.49 as the third gear. Fourth gear is 1.12, drop that a little bit so I can get a little more revs out of the previous gear. Fifth gear is 0.9, and the sixth gear is 0.6. 7.6, dope, what am I saying? So yeah, that's the gear setup, which is really nice. I did play around with it, and it is quite a nice setup. Camber, front camber is a -2 camber, and rear camber is 0 camber. You do not want any camber in the rear, or as minimal as possible, because you want to be able to have maximum traction at the back. So yeah, tone camber, 5 degrees, and 0.5 degrees and -0.5 degrees, 5.7 degrees caster, so I can run less camber, which is nice. Don't need that much camber. Anti-roll bars, I'll have it at 111. I don't even know what the numbers are. It's just numbers, I guess. 111 and, what am I saying? 11, Jesus. And 16. 16, they're just really all-round good numbers to run with. Suspension, I ran it, my usual numbers are 111. I ran it actually a stiffer suspension because I was testing on Rio and it was just hopping up and down. It was doing some weird things. Well, it wasn't really hopping up and down. It was just doing weird things with the suspension. It was being a bit funky. So I had to change the suspension around, make it a little bit stiffer. And good old rebound stiffness to 4.1 front and rear, and good old bump stiffness to 4.1. So I can, if I hit the curbs and stuff like that, I don't have to worry too much about losing control. Though it doesn't really help too much on Rio, I've tested, because, well, Rio is a really, really hard track to drift with a soft suspension setup, because it tends to hop around. Your car tends to hop around on Rio, mainly because it's a mountainous track with a lot of uneven driving surfaces, which is fun. But yeah, there we go. The differential is acceleration 80 and deceleration 60, braking force 40%, 150 brake pressure. So yeah, there's the car setup, and we're actually going to take it into a public lobby now and see how it goes in the public lobby. So let's go. So we have some technical issues once again with either Forza servers being not enough people, which I really doubt, or my ISP being really crap, which, well, to be honest, Australian internet's just crap, and I did a video last Saturday about it in Rainbow Six Siege. And as you see, it doesn't exactly translate well to Forza either, my internet. So I'm stuck drifting by myself without a competition. So we're going to take it around Brands Hatch, which is something I don't actually drift very often. So see how it goes, because most of the time Brands Hatch in public lobbies are actually wet rain, and no one ever votes for it. So yeah, no one ever gets a really chance to drift this brilliant British track. So yeah, this is quite a nice track, actually, I must say. It's quite... Oh, jeez. I wasn't in the right gear. I misshifted. Dropped down the third gear. But yeah, this is actually quite a good track for drifting. Just no one ever drifts it because it's always in the rain. And, well, British weather isn't exactly the best for racing either, because it's always raining, to be honest. I believe it's a short track that is actually in drift lobbies, a short one. It actually just wraps around the back there, I think. But I'm doing the whole shebang, the whole square block track as well. Because why not? Because this track is quite a nice track. I just don't want to overspeed and overshoot a corner. That'd be really bad. I just realised this is an uphill section, so there's too much speed now on braking. I'm doing some Jumanjis. Handbrake. Yep, bring it around. Nice. I just clipped the corner. If there was a clipping point there, would have considered that as a wall, and I would have hit a wall. But unfortunately, there isn't a clipping point. It's just a track. I'm very, very off track. But that section is quite fun to drive. Actually, I think I might have found my new favourite drift track is Brands Hatch. Let's just take out some of those foam boards. Yeah, I might have found a new drift track I like a lot. Brands Hatch is quite fun, I must say. Brands Hatch is... Actually, yeah, it is a short track that's used in public lobbies. I'm going to overshoot a little bit. Or I'm not going to overshoot, I'm just going to undershoot. Oh, jeez. We're in the pit lane. Sorry. Yeah, so yeah, I do like this track a lot, actually, because it's just very gradual corners and stuff. It's not like all over the place and things like that. So yeah, there's Brands Hatch and a quick slide around Brands Hatch. I do think I might use this track a lot more. Rarely ever use this track or ever see this track in public lobbies, because it's always the rain version and no one votes for it. So Turn 10, please put the dry track version in the game, in public lobbies, please, because that'd be really nice. I don't know why Turn 10 puts nighttime and raining tracks in their drift lobbies, but whatever. It's their business decision and their game design decision. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the drift setup and basically the Hyundai Gensis setup, as this setup will be in my file share called Odi Barchus with, I think, the description of drift. Or you can always look on my gamer tag, Icekraks, so you can always look that up. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the drift setup, used to your heart's content and stuff like that. Icekraks out.